Welcome back. In the last lesson, we started to build our dashboard page and got through our static header, our static quick links, our container, and our first table dynamic block. Now let's continue with our sales and reporting, and then configure this for each user group to make sure that the appropriate logged in user can only see and access the data that they're supposed to see. So let's make it happen. Now from here, I have this table pre-built, and I actually want to bring it over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, I'm going to say, duplicate, and it's going to come over here. Now I'm going to take it and I'm going to move this inside the container. And I'm going to move it inside sales container. So that's a quick way to get a head start. Now that we have that head start, we do need to switch the data for this because it's inventory, but we want sales. So let's go over to our source. Let's go to table and let's go to sales orders. Now, once we're in sales orders, it's going to attempt to remap as much as possible for us. And then we're going to go back to content, and we now need to configure all this stuff. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to text, and this is going to be our customer. And I'm going to, again, get rid of these icons here, and it's going to be customer. And then the next thing is we're going to use a tag field type this time, and it's going to be our status. Status, get rid of that there. All right, and then we're going to do order amount, and order amount. And then we're going to do order date. And then we're going to go and get rid of these two. And I'm just going to refresh the page so all these fields come back for me. And now in my sales, I have my customers, my status, my order amount, and my due date. And that's looking pretty good. Let's just go to our content, our customer, and just give us a little bit more space there. There we go. And then otherwise, I think that's doing pretty good. And now we have our table here for sales, and we have our table for inventory, and they both have that custom styling and everything. So that's looking really good. Let's go down here and we'll just go and delete this block because we actually don't need it after all. So now we have our 3 blocks. It's starting to look really good. Let's head over to reporting and start to create our 3 graphs. Now, the first thing you'll notice is when I bring over the example application, we have graphs side by side here. How do you think we managed to get graphs side by side? Well, we used our container block for that. And so we go to container, and containers are not only tabs, but they're also the ability to have column containers. So tabs show you this, and then you can go tab by tab. Column containers allow you to stack blocks side by side. In this case, I want to have a 2-column container, as I'm going to have a graph here, and I'm going to have a graph here. So the first graph is going to be total by revenue. And we're going to go down here. We're going to go chart. And we're going to grab right here. We'll grab this column graph. And we'll map it to our sales orders. And then we'll go to content here. And we'll go to title. And we're going to say total revenue by customer. We'll get rid of the subtitle. And then we'll start to map the data here. First thing that we want here is the order amount. And we want to aggregate it by the sum. And then after that, we want to group it by the customer. And now we're going to start to see that the customer is coming in and each order amount that they have. So that's pretty cool. That's our first graph. And you can go and customize this further. You can turn off some of these labels, these tooltips. You can, refresh it quicker, all that kind of stuff. That's going to be good enough for now. The next thing I want to do is I want to keep the same graph, but I want to change it a little bit. And so I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go to charts, and I'm going to go to my column chart again. And in our inventory graph, this one is actually going to be for products because we want to see the inventory level for our products. So now we have our products. We go to content, and I'm going to go to my subtitle, and it's going to be inventory levels. Get rid of the subtitle. And then we want to use our units available for this. We're going to sum it. And then after that, we're going to go by product name. And this is going to allow us to show the inventory levels for each of the product names that we have. Now, this is looking pretty good. I like having the image there or the number there. We could choose to keep that on or off. I'm going to get rid of some of this footnote freshness. And we now have 2 of our graphs set up. Now, both of these graphs, it's okay for sales managers and warehouse managers to see. because we want our sales managers to be able to see, hey, what are the customers that are driving revenue? That's great. And we also want them to see inventory levels. That's healthy for them to, have a good hand on, the inventory in the warehouse. We just don't want them to be able to create new inventory or new purchase orders in that way. The last graph is going to be a graph where only the warehouse manager, the admin, can see. So now let's go behind here. We're going to add another block. And for this block, we're going to find our chart. Now for this final chart, let's pick a column chart. And this chart is going to show revenue by sales rep. So for that, we're going to pick sales orders. Then we're going to go to content, title, and this is going to be revenue by sales rep. Get rid of the subtitle here. Then we'll do order amount. We'll keep the sum for the aggregate function. And then we'll go down here and we'll go to our sales by name by related salesperson to group that by. So now it's going to group all of the order amounts into each of the salespeople. And right away, we can see that Olivia is our highest performer, and they've generated over $12,000 of sales. Good job, Olivia. Beyond that, I'm just going to fix this up. I'm just going to remove some of these things, total my preference. And then the last thing I want to do is I want to go into visibility rules here. I want to go into logged in users, and then I'm going to say warehouse manager. So now this means that only warehouse managers can see this graph, and then other logged in users can see this graph as well. So we go over here, visibility, we'll say logged in users. Now only logged in users can see this data. And then within this data, we have our inventory, we have our sales, we have our reporting, our different graphs here, and then our final graph that is only visible by our warehouse manager. Now, like everything, let's preview and make sure that this is working as expected. So I'm going to preview the application. I'm going to run this application as a warehouse manager. So we're already running as Ethan, so that's good. So now, Ethan, we're able to see the inventory. That's great. We're able to see all of our sales here. And then in our reporting, we're able to see the total revenue by customer, inventory levels, and revenue by sales reps as soon as that loads, which is right here. And we can see all these graphs. That's looking really good. Now let's load it as our sales manager to make sure that these user groups are taking effect and are working properly. So again, we could see all this data. That's great. Sales, we could see it all. Now reporting, we should not be able to see that bottom one, and we can't. And now we have built a personalized dashboard for the warehouse manager and the sales manager. We're making great progress, and we have more to build. We got to build some more pages to complete this experience. So see me in the next lesson, and we'll build our next page together. I'll see you there.